there, let's continue with the general enhancements. This is gonna be maybe a long video, but I just want to tackle all at once so it's not like scattered in super small videos. Okay, so the first one I want to talk is the improvements with the custom steps. So I see here, where is the shifter, sharing custom steps and feedback and information. So the shared custom step was introduced in the previous version in the 3.0 release. So basically what we have is some custom steps that if we use a special naming on our folders called shared, it's gonna be highlighted as green. So the first thing you can see it's now when I hover on any of the custom steps, it's gonna give us some information, so it makes it easier to understand what's going on here. So the first, it's the name, so it's import shapes or simple facial or give me blank joints. Then the status of the custom step, so in this case if it's off, it's gonna be, say, the status is deactivated. And a share status, in this case the share status is shared and the owner is character. And we have another here that it's local, so it's not share, and the share owner is none because there is no one. So, and yeah, this it's red for deactivated, green for shared, and white for the locals one. So how it knows when it's a local, when it's shared? Okay, so let's check here the example from the data-centric rigging workshop. This is an update I did quickly to explain this thing. By the way, announcement here, I'm gonna continue with data-centric rigging workshop part 2 from next week. So be ready for a new batch of videos. I don't want to say the number, but it's gonna be quite high, and we're gonna finish the facial and some other stuff that was pending from last year. Okay, so back to the explanation here on the custom steps, the share thing. So basically here I have my build system, that is the one that I set with my environment variable. If you don't know how to do that, check the data-centric workshop. And here I have my first folder, it's called shared. And then I have several types of assets that I can have in my production that may have rig or not, but let's say all have rigs. Okay, so I have my background, my characters, my props, and my vehicles. And in this case, I have here one character that, by the way, it's called Richard. So now the nameless character, I don't know if I ever say any name, but I decided it's gonna be called Richard, so it's easier to identify. Richard from mGear. Okay, so I have my share folder here also. So I have one under characters, and under Richard I have another share folder, and here in Richard I have high, low, mid. That, guess what? It's the resolutions that we may have for a rig, and this can be totally random. At this studio we use another naming, and it's more resolutions depending of the use that we're gonna have the rig. In this case, just for the example, I just go with the standard high, low, res. High, low, mid, sorry, or mid, low. And here in the high, I don't have any other share because this is, let's say, the lowest level where I can have my scripts, and we have the post and pre. So for instance, and comparing side by side here, if I go to my simple facial, it belongs to Richard. Means that maybe the mid and the high may share this custom step that creates the simple facial. So instead of putting this on the local for each one, I just put it on the top level folder share, and I know it's shared by more than one element, and I know the owner is Richard. So means if I have another character called Charlie, it's not gonna be share with him. No, so here we have another level that it's share owner, it's character. So maybe other characters share this give me blank joins. So this give me blank joins, it's can be pretty standard for all the bipeds. So I want to share with all my characters. So here is the share status, and the owner is character. So be careful that if you change that, maybe all the characters under your folder structure maybe change. Of course, this is not hard-coded. You can name these characters or props or whatever you want. So it's not like any exact rule to do this. The only rule it's like if you are organized and follow the similar pattern that I'm using on the data-centric workshop, well, the continuation, because I'm gonna go over that and update all one more time so you can follow up. So you will have this, and of course the full path. So and why I use this full path, it's easy because here when we see this, we can see the path. It's just relative to our environment variable. So sometimes you want to know exactly where is the path in my folder structure, in my server, or in my hard drive. So here is the full path. So it's easier for you. Sadly, you cannot copy this, but at least you can see it and navigate your folders more easily. And again, this is maybe a bit overkill for one character, but we have, for instance, productions where we have more than 60 characters per production and several productions at the same time. So that can be hard to manage, and this helps us less to open this and understand quickly what's going on here. And I think this import this one. Yeah, this is under the owner of build. So build is the top folder that I have pointed as my root for the custom steps. So it means it's here, this share scripts post. So I should have my import and scheme pack here. That probably my import scheme pack, if I check, it's pretty generic. So I just import, and this is not correct, I will update it later. This is just for the example, but it's just import something in data skin that can be the same for any asset. So if you take this rule and you say, okay, I'm gonna save all my asset skins with this kind of pattern, so you can share the import skin pack to all your characters. So that's the way that we like to work. Obviously, it's not mandatory, but it's recommended to use these kind of patterns for the custom steps. So you have everything well organized, and you don't have custom step duplication. That is the most important part of this share folder structure implementation, is that to avoid duplicacy. And it's not, by far, it's not the best system in the world that you can have, but it was something relatively simple to implement, understand, and move forward before the ultimate system. So that's how it works. Okay, so that's one of the things I want to talk. It's the custom steps update. Also, I did a little fix when you toggle on and off. The colors goes properly back. Before was an error there. Okay, so next thing I would like to talk is the negative scaling on the joints. So I hope I didn't prepare this demo. So this part of the demo, so I have here my left, and I'm just gonna mirror behavior here. So in this control 01, and do I have join? No, of course not. Because one of the requests from animator was like, we need like full symmetry behavior. So, and obviously the easiest way to, of course, if you work. Okay, did I configure this? Sorry. Yeah, should be. Oh yeah, of course. My bad. World space orientation. Yeah. Okay. So here now I should have pure mirror behavior, but the way that it's achieved this, and it's this way, it's to negative scaling. So if I check here my controls, my let's see in the attribute editor. Okay, here. So you can see here the scale, it's -1 in X. So that's the reason, and this is 180 flip. So this is how I achieved this. But the problem here was the joint itself was inheriting this negative scaling. Now the joint it's not anymore negated. So even the behavior and the control have some negative scaling in some part on the structure. The joint itself is not a negative scale, so that will avoid issues with any other process, like for instance export to game engine and things like that. Okay, so that's it for this little but important fix. And one thing that this is a little improvement, it's now when I have my, oh, of course this is not a guide, but when I open my guides, normally we have two tabs. We have the main settings and the components, and this is just a little enhancement. So now I create a new hotkey that give you access straight to the second tab. So instead of the go first, go second with a hotkey. So it's sometimes you don't want to change the settings, but the main settings, but the component settings like rotation, I don't want rotation, and I don't want rotation in this one, in this one, and so on. In the future, I'm planning to improve even more this by allowing multi-editing of several components at the same time, but for the moment, it's just this little improvement. And the way that you need to configure this is you come to your mGear menu, go utilities, create mGear hotkeys. So it's gonna create a hotkeys for you. Go to your settings, hotkey editor, and it's gonna take, okay, so users, custom scripts, mGear scripts here. And you can see here that we have this mGear inspect property that I highly recommend to have a hotkey for this one. And we have another version that is property tab 2 that I have set to control 4 in this case. So this will give you access to the one of the other tab. And of course it works also on the root. So I can go this or this, this or this. So that's it for the little improvements there. It's not so much, but little by little we gain some time there and there. And that's it for this video. I will go over some of the other improvements probably when we move forward for the data-centric workshop, like the site implementation and the synoptic improvement. We will check how to do some of the synoptics. I don't know if will be separate video on the data centric or not, but at some point we will go over this for sure. Yeah, and some other little things that maybe it's not that important. Yeah, that one I didn't go over on the other videos, but basically you have an argument or a setting to no, sorry, that is not. This is I was some UI host that didn't support some stuff. Sorry, I'm just. Oh yeah, that one. I just the channel host now for the stack chains. Some of them allowed you to separate the yeah. Sorry for that. Yes, it's just a little rambling here. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Okay, so let's say the regular chain stack here. So, and I'm just gonna create another control01 for the host. So I have my host, regular host here for the UI. So now if I build this thing, I have sorry, this one. I have my options for my chain here on the host. That is how it works normally. But if we, and that's something I discovered that sometimes I want to do, it's, let's say I want my chain is the own host of its stuff. So now it's easier. The first FK holds all the options, but the problem here was the visibility option was there. So once I unselect this, I'm pretty screwed because I cannot unhide that unless I navigate on my sets or on my rig and search for the controller, search for the FK 0 here and make the visibility again and so on. So as you can see, it's pretty bad design if you do that. and self-host your channels on the same guide. On the same component guide. You can make these kind of cycles there. It's not super bad. It's just like super inconvenient that it's not the best for a good rig design. So solution, and this is very exceptional. We allowed a second host, and this host, so here is a little explanation, but basically what it does is override the visibility host if it's set. If it's not set, it's gonna work like that. But if I now say I want my visibility host here, now when I build, I have my visibility channels here, but the rest of the channels are here. And one more thing is, remember we have on the settings on the guide root, we have this use classic channel, so everything has a unique name. But if I uncheck it, it will have like share names. Means if you share the host, it's gonna share the channel that exists with the same name, and if you don't share the host, it's gonna have it's gonna only be for one of the components. So this, you can take advantage of this. So now not duplicating the whole guides. No, just the component and the component. So these components have the same settings, and careful with that because this is correct, but here is still pointing to the 01 as it C0, sorry, and this should be this is something you need to be careful. So now each of the components, it's pointing to himself in terms of, oh, look at me, I'm just, now I did it one. Okay, now now it's good. So basically it's retro pointing to himself as a host for the channels, but the visibility host, it's this share one here. And remember, I check it here, or uncheck it, the use classic, so it will have share names. So if this is working correctly, because again I didn't prepare the demo for this, we have the visibility that works on all three at the same time, but now each of these ones have its own settings. So let me make this a bit more visible here. So now if I just go and twist mid here, you can see this is affecting only his elements, but this one is share among the others. So you can have a little more complex system to organize your channels. Okay, now that's all for this rambling long introduction for the general enhancements. I don't think there is anything else. There's fixes, but yeah. And yeah, if you have any question, if you want to participate, don't forget we have the forums here, so you can join us and talk and present your questions or your new ideas, or share your work. If you have done something with mGear, it's always welcome to see some of the work. And remember to join also the YouTube channel. I guess if you're watching this video, you know where is the YouTube channel. And I will continue in the next week the data-centric workshop, so be ready to have a new batch of amazing, boring videos of how to rig a character. Okay, so thank you for listening. See you in the next one. Bye bye.